The following is a presentation of CW Sports.
Have you changed your mind about NC State in the ACC tournament?
I'm a freaking queen. I got what I need.
Perfect form. Hayes is fired up.
And Bowen.
I got what I need.
Right to Zoe Brooks and Brooks drills.
You know, Georgia Tech.
Kiradon has been delivering all year.
I don't need a king. Every eye on me.
To serve. Sunday, Monday in Raleigh, North Carolina. Every game matters in February in ACC Women's Hoops. Up today, it's the 6th-ranked North Carolina State Wolfpack looking to win their third straight as they host the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets here at Reynolds Coliseum. Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for being here alongside former Syracuse pro hooper Isis Young. I'm Kyla Mills. Georgia Tech coming off a much-needed win over Clemson, while this NC State team has a balanced attack. They're coming off 2 straight wins. What impresses you most about these two teams?
Well, they've been road warriors. I mean, you want to steal games on the road in February, and Georgia Tech coming off a good one against Clemson. That was a close game, but they pulled it out down the stretch, and then the Wolfpack just completely dominated Notre Dame on the road, held them to just 43 points. This is an Irish team that scores second best ACC, 74 points a game, and held them to just 43.
This Georgia Tech team going to need another big performance from sophomore Cara Dunn, coming off a 24-point outing. What stands out when you watch her play?
Cara Dunn has just been tremendous in terms of finding multiple ways to score the basketball for the Yellow Jackets. 17 games in double figures and coming off 24 points and a career-high 9 rebounds versus Clemson. But then on the other side for the Wolfpack, it has been Madison Hayes shooting the ball electric from 3, 46%. She also does a terrific job running the floor, also second in rebounding on this team. But it's her three-point shooting right now that's separating her amongst the pack.
Let's take a look at the keys to the game presented by Sky Rizzi. Like what you did there, the pack.
Trying my best, Kyle. And listen, for the Yellow Jackets, they have to take care of the basketball on the road, especially against the Wolfpack defense. And then defensively, to defend without fouling, Wolfpack are going to put pressure on the paint. If you're at home, you have to dominate the boards. This is going to start and end with River Baldwin inside for NC State. And then defensively, protecting the paint. This means limiting that guard penetration that the Yellow Jackets are so good.
It's the 77th all-time meeting between NC State and Georgia Tech. The Wolfpack have won 10 of the last 12, but the Yellow Jackets had the last laugh 1 season ago. Tip-off and lineups on the other side here on the CW.
ACC basketball on the CW is brought to you by Intuit TurboTax. Make your moves. We'll make them count.
Welcome back inside of Reynolds Coliseum. An ACC women's hoops matchup ahead here on the CW as 6th-ranked NC State hosts Georgia Tech. Let's take a look at our starting 5, brought to you by Bounty, the quicker picker-upper. For NC State, a big boost. Graduate student forward Mimi Collins back in the starting lineup after missing last game with a lower body injury. Meanwhile, for Georgia Tech, the Yellow Jackets' 5th-year guard Sydney Johnson earning her 5th start of the season. A big thing that Coach Nell Fortner talked about is her coming in, being able to run the point, frees up Toni Morgan. How does that allow her to maximize her game?
Toni Morgan expends a lot of energy on the ball when she's trying to make things happen, so it's nice that she can play off the ball. And Sydney Johnson is a veteran, 5th-year senior, is calm and composed when running the offense. Coach Fortner did tell us, though, she'll be challenged today with this defense from the Wolfpack.
Coach Fortner, in her 5th season at the helm, has an incredible resume that includes gold medals coaching Team USA. On the other side, head coach Wes Moore, in his 11th season at NC State, has led this team to 10 straight weeks in the top 10 poll, AP top 10 poll, I should say, and off and running here in Raleigh, North Carolina. The Wolfpack that had the first opportunity to score. There's River Baldwin inside. Puts it up, tough take, batted back out. Second chance for the Wolfpack. Touched out of play. They'll keep it here, though. Officials on the call today: Fatu Sissoko Stevens, Brian Brunette, and Timothy Bryant. NC State coming off 2 straight wins, including a huge one over a ranked Notre Dame team. Held Notre Dame to their fewest home points in about 20 years. Isis, just this defense, outstanding.
Oh, it was stifling. So impressed with the way that Rivers, Hayes, and James guard together. They're all very long. They're all connected. That's a good sign, though, as Caleb Blackshear knocks down the 15-foot jump shot. And Coach Nell Fortner told us before the game she needs to knock down that elbow jump shot consistently for them to open up their offense.
Blackshear has the ability to get to the cup, but she also has to be able to hit those shots to draw those defenders out. Exactly what Coach Fortner pointed out to us. And she said there have been times where she passes up that shot, but you know she can knock it down, just has to be aggressive. NC State looking to respond. 4 to shoot, rattles out. Second O-board, second chance points here on the board for NC State.
And Madison Hayes is the best offensive rebounder on this team. You cannot forget to box her out.
Hayes with the opening basket for the Wolfpack, averaging more than 12 points per game and 6.5 boards. This North Carolina State team, but how about Dunn heating up?
Love the way that Dunn is able to just score in a multitude of ways, whether it's the jump shot, getting to the basket, posting up. She's so versatile offensively.
Response not online, and it's another rebound here for Georgia Tech. They get the opportunity to extend the lead. Dunn coming off that 24-point performance we pointed out in the open. 15 of those came in the 4th quarter. Talk about some clutch play for the Yellow Jackets as they battled back in that game against Clemson. A much-needed win for a team coming off of a couple of very tight one-possession losses. Some good ball movement here. 5 to shoot, though. Elbow jumper is good. Kara Dunn this time.
Yeah, that's a good start for Georgia Tech. 3 of 3 from the floor. They've all been open, catch and shoot jump shots in rhythm. And you mentioned that ball movement. That's key against that's key against NC State's defense. You have to move them to find open shots.
And there is a basket from Isaiah James, the leading scorer for this Wolfpack team. Georgia Tech team, though, able to execute too late in the shot clock, and that's exactly what this North Carolina State defense wants to do. Slow you down, grind out possessions. 9 to shoot here. The penetration, travel called. Initially, travel indicated, but jump ball. Now it is the travel. A little discussion there between the officials.
Just deciding whether Johnson traveled first before the jump, and I agree. She took a few too many steps on the jump stop. Good call by the referee.
Johnson mentioned it, earning her 5th start. 5th-year guard brings that veteran presence to this team. Coach Fortner said this is going to be a tough matchup for her, though, with the way this Wolfpack defense is playing. Nice pass. Rivers can't cash in. Whistle, though. Foul called.
Great awareness by Rivers here to make that 45 cut right into the middle of the paint, and then met with contact. And that's something that River Baldwin is so good at, is passing out of the post, right? She's got the size and the height advantage over Georgia Tech. Caleb Blackshear is an undersized post player, so River Baldwin has got a couple of inches on her, and being able to pass out of the post, such an awesome skill to have as a 5 player.
Junior guard Sanaya Rivers at the line, just about a 74% free throw shooter, knocks him down. NC State ties this game up. Baldwin, though, doing so much for this Wolfpack team. More than 10 points per game, nearly 7 boards, 28 blocks, and then he pointed out the ability to distribute. Dunn trying to get inside, caught up, deflection and takeaway for the Wolfpack. Oh, what a pass. And the finish from Collins.
Every single player runs the floor in transition for NC State. They are consistent about that, and they're rewarded with the easy 2 points.
Tough thing about defending this North Carolina State team in transition. They've got so many scores. 6, 7 different players have led them in scoring and rebounding this season. But the 3-ball is true from Dunn.
Talk about Georgia Tech's hot shooting start now. 4 of 4 from the field, and Dunn all by herself is 3 of 3.
Dunn continuing the hot play from that Clemson game. That 3-ball coming up short from Hayes. Battle for the rebound. Yellow Jackets come up with it. Morgan. Oh, what a tough finish. My goodness.
First of all, that's such a tough move against Rivers, who comes right back down. Bit out of control, though, and Georgia Tech gets the ball back. But, man, Tony Morgan in transition, you don't want to miss it.
Sophomore guard just having an outstanding second season, and this Georgia Tech team continuing their hot play.
Hey, you got to be road warriors on the road. You got to take good shots and make good shots. It's a good start for the Yellow Jackets.
Morgan averaging just under 15 points per game, 7 boards, just under 5 assists as Baldwin responds.
And that's a bit too easy against the zone. You get that ball into the high post and the different options open up. Baldwin on the block. Someone has to find a way to defend her and then defend that pass at the high post.
3-point ball game here. This Georgia Tech offense on fire. Can they put together defensive stops? Another 3 from Dunn.
Kyla, we just started the game. We're only 6 minutes in. Dunn already in double figures with 10.
Kara Dunn shooting the lights out of the gym, and things just got started here in Raleigh. She has yet to miss a shot. Ball rolls out of play. Going to be a turnover here, but how about that? Tony Morgan, my goodness, Ice.
The Yellow Jackets starting off strong. It's Tony Morgan on the reverse, baby. Yellow Jackets up 6.
You're watching ACC basketball on the CW, brought to you by Ram Trucks, built to serve. If you weren't up and at 'em yet on this Sunday, well, you should be now after watching the start to this basketball game. My goodness, 6th-ranked NC State hosting Georgia Tech. And it's the Yellow Jackets who are perfect from the field in large part due to Kara Dunn.
And Dunn already with 10 points. See the jump shooting ability from her, and this is what makes her so versatile, is that you worry about her driving, but you also have to worry about her closing out and knocking down shots from the perimeter. She is a perfect 4-4 from the field. 2 threes already. She averages 15 and already has 10, and we still have 4 minutes left to play in the first quarter.
That's the wild thing about all of this. Dunn, top 10 in the ACC in scoring, coming off a huge performance, just carrying that momentum into today. Prior to that, had a tough game against Miami, just 6 points, went 2 of 14 from the floor, 0 of 8 from 3. But shooters shoot, and you got to keep shooting with confidence. She's doing that.
Shooters shoot. Talking about that, did you watch Sabrina Ionescu?
Oh, of course, as James gets it inside. I love the Nike shirt as a result of it.
Oh, yes.
Shooters, shooters, shoot.
Nike saying it. Nike's been on it recently with their ads. They had a good one for Caitlin Clark too when she broke the record recently earlier this week.
Getting inside here are the Yellow Jackets. Quite the showdown between Ionescu and Curry on NBA All-Star Weekend. Really fun to watch her show out. 26 points in that 3-point competition.
From the NBA 3 too. I tell you what though, jump shots are raining here for Georgia Tech. Blackshear knocks down another 15-footer.
Now that last possession prior to that, the Yellow Jackets did miss a shot. So it's happened here in the first quarter, but they are still 8 for 9. Blackshear getting in on the action from the mid-range. NC State down by 6, needing a response here. The friendly roll for James.
And James just has a nice pull-up jumper. So good at finding that space in between the defense where she can pull up comfortably.
Speaking of players who are perfect from the floor, James 3 for 3 so far. Averages more than 15 points per game. Eight on the shot clock. Laredo trying to find something. Wow. It's called for the carry. Turnover here for the Yellow Jackets. They're third so far here in this first quarter. One area that this NC State team has been able to capitalize on, though, is the offensive glass. 3-0 boards so far. Has only resulted in 2 second chance points, though. But this NC State team, a very good rebounding team. One of the top in the ACC and the country.
And again, they have just the size advantage against the Yellow Jackets, so it's important that they look to dominate. But also in the paint, they're doing a good job scoring. That's a nice pull-up from the freshman and Zoe Brooks. Listen, folks, if you haven't watched Zoe Brooks play this season, please watch. When we talk about the future of college basketball, Zoe Brooks is going to be one of those players we talk about for the next few years.
Morgan gets inside, can't get it to go, gets her own board, draws the foul.
Good play call here for Georgia Tech. Morgan was able to get free inside.
Brooks called for her first foul, following up a great move inside. She's a part of NC State's freshman class that is the highest ranked group of rookies in program history. Ranked as high as 4 by a couple of media outlets. She was the 9th ranked recruit, according to popular recruiting sites. And you can certainly see why when you watch her play. So much fun.
Oh, she's second on this team in assists. 1 behind.
Ball out of play. A little bit of a disparity as to what the call would be. It is going to be Wolfpack basketball.
Oh, yeah, it seemed to go off Dunn's knee there at the very end. But, yeah, talking about Zoe Brooks, just 90-plus assists on the season. And Coach Wes Moore told us that sometimes he thinks that she gets more pleasure out of setting her teammates up than scoring herself.
And how about James getting inside? Remains perfect in this game.
Yeah, she's just so good off the bounce.
James now with 8 points to lead the Wolfpack. They tied this game up here in quarter number 1. Dunn going to step out and survey, pulls up. Blackshear puts it on the deck, can't get the shot to go.
I like the drive, though, because Blackshear, because she's undersized, she has a little bit more quicker foot speed right on Baldwin, so she can take her off the bounce, but she has to be able to finish inside.
Hayes gets it to Baldwin. Minute to play. Corner 3 is short. Pushing here the Yellow Jackets. Morgan. NC State team, though, doing a good job. Really good with their transition defense. Tough basket from Dunn.
And the connection sometimes between Morgan and Dunn is just exquisite. Like, they find each other at the exact moment and finish. And then as Rivers just gets an easy 2 points. If you're Georgia Tech, you got to make it a little bit harder in transition. You have to show some resistance.
Tie ball game here at Reynolds Coliseum. Fans packed into the stands, and they sure are getting a show. Basket, basket, basket. 20-20 here late in quarter number 1, and Kara Dunn remains perfect. 5 of 5 from the floor. She leads all scorers with 12 points. And this one going to come down to the wire. You have a feeling we're in for a good one.
Yeah, both teams shooting a good percentage from the field. Georgia Tech starting off hot. 75% from the field the Yellow Jackets are shooting.
Dive into the nation's most shocking mysteries. Catch the series premiere of the all-new CW original true crime series, Crime Nation, this Tuesday, February 20th at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central, only on the CW. What do you think was the message in either of those huddles at this moment in time with the scoring display we've seen so far?
I don't think Coach Nell Fortner looked too pleased with the transition defense for the Yellow Jackets. And then you just talk about taking a timeout here with less than 30 seconds left, just wanting to get a good shot to finish the quarter.
About a 4-second differential between the game clock and shot clock here. Yellow Jackets in possession. Tony Morgan, the sophomore guard out of Tallahassee, Florida, leading this team in rebounding, assists, steals, calling out the offense. Bustinida into the game, prolific score. Freshman finds her shot, gets it to go. Talk about a clutch bucket from a freshman.
She's so good. Coach Nell Fortner described her as a baller.
Bustinida averaging 11 points per game. Last shot offline. Just 2 seconds remaining to get that one off. But how about the scoring display here in Raleigh, North Carolina? It's the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets leading by 2 after the first. A fast start here in Reynolds Coliseum. It's the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets leading the 6th-ranked NC State Wolfpack by 2 at the start of quarter number 2. Let's take a quick look at what's going on around the ACC, presented by T-Mobile. Right now, Pitt and Clemson in action also in the first quarter. But how about the matchup of 12th-ranked Georgia Tech taking on 18th-ranked Louisville? We just got to call both those teams. Anything that you have your eye on in that matchup?
Oh, man, I just think the inside presence. You talk about Elizabeth Kitley for Virginia Tech, one of the most versatile post players in the country, and then going up against Olivia Cochran, who had a really good showing in Syracuse besides the last second foul that was oh so controversial. Tell you what's not controversial? Georgia Tech shooting right now. My goodness, Kylan.
I mean, it was Toni Morgan that time, but everyone has been getting in on the action. 4 different scores so far, and they have been lighting it up. But there's the response from James.
James, so good off the bounce. She just made Naredo do a full 360 and trying to guard her off the rip-through. Such a quick first step.
James now with 10 points. She's also 5 for 5 from the floor, so another player really starting off hot.
They talk about her shot selection. I mean, she's had pull-up jump shots, which it is her go-to. She's money in the mid-range, and then she's had layups at the basket. She's getting high percentage looks.
Oh, how about the corner 3 from Dunn? I mean, Dunn with 15 points just a minute into the second quarter.
Oh, and then Toni Morgan gets in the passing lane. I tell you what, the Yellow Jackets are here, folks. And Wes Moore needs a timeout.
They are here, and they are forcing this North Carolina State team to have to regroup here. Head coach Wes Moore going to have to figure something out to slow down these Jackets.
Toni Morgan not slowing down, though, in the passing lane, finishing for the easy 2. Yellow Jackets up 8.
ACC basketball in the CW is brought to you by Ram Trucks, built to serve. Tell you what, a lot of red here inside of Reynolds Coliseum as 6th-ranked NC State hosts Georgia Tech, but also red is the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets shooters. Red hot. I mean, my goodness, 81% from the field, 80% from beyond the arc, and this is a very stout North Carolina State defense. As Hayes gets it inside, can't get the roll.
Yeah, Georgia Tech just doing a great job of shot selection. I think they've been getting great shots, not good shots, but great shots in a rhythm. And then 6 assists on 13 made field goals shows you that they're moving the basketball well.
2 players who've been the hottest amongst this Yellow Jackets team. Morgan and Dunn combined for 24 points, 10 of 11 from the floor, 4 of 5 from three-point land. I mean, my goodness, shutting those 2 down might be a place to start.
Well, you're seeing the adjustment early from Wes Moore. He's got Rivers guarding Morgan, Moore in the passing lane, so she didn't get a touch really on that possession.
Their Naredo shot wouldn't go, so NC State with a chance to close the gap here. Battle for the O-board. Collins touched it last, out of play. You look at the numbers for this NC State defense, among the best in the country. They're holding opponents to 34.5% shooting from the floor. That's 3rd in the NCAA, 1st in the ACC. But today, this Georgia Tech team, just mentioned it, shooting now 76%, but came out 7 of 7 from the field.
I mean, it's tough to play defense when teams are scoring any way they want to. They're scoring from 3. They knocked down 4 of those. They've also finished inside, but James has been so consistent for the Wolfpack on the steal.
James, a great 2-way player, gets it done defensively as Hayes' shot rattles out. Battle for the O-board and foul called. This NC State team been getting after it on the glass, too.
Well, you need second chance opportunities at this point, and you want to put more pressure on the paint. You want to stop Georgia Tech from rebounding and then flowing into their offense. And Mimi Collins just so good at not accepting the box out as she battled for the offensive board.
Augustinaita called for her first on that play. So it was called on the ground. It will stay with NC State on the baseline. James, tough little fadeaway.
Off 1 foot? I'm sorry, that is too nice.
James now with 12 points to lead the pack. 6 of 6 from the field. Dunn, some contact, foul called, boos from the crowd. They wanted the charge. James does get called for the foul.
Oh, it was oh so close. I think, though, she was still moving and leaning to the left as Dunn went to initiate the contact. She had been a second earlier. She would have drawn the charge.
James called for her first. Yellow Jackets bring it back out. Laredo gets it under control. Box here. 7 to shoot here. Morgan rises up. Wolfpack can get the board, pushing. Here's Brooks. Wide open 3 for James, won't go.
She's human. She missed.
Turns out.
Yeah, I thought she was going to keep going. Man, Coach Wes Moore has nicknamed her the show, and I can see why. She's so composed in her ability to score multiple ways. And this is the footwork also that we've seen as well. Even on that last play off the 1 foot, just skillful.
Big thing about Isaiah James, too, is the improvement. Second biggest improvement in the ACC in scoring, jumping up about 9 points per game last year. Now, however, in her sophomore campaign, started the last 6 games, averaged 10 points per game, more than 4 assists, nearly 5 boards, and 2 steals. So really started to come along towards the end of the season and kept that going into this season as NC State gets the takeaway. Transition chance, Brooks couldn't get it under control.
James got a bit excited there, trying to thread the needle. Good job by the Yellow Jackets in transition, but the defense, though, from the freshman and Brooks.
Hayes, corner 3 is true. James nails it, and the crowd goes wild.
Just so many weapons for the number 6 team in the country. You think about Hayes, you think about James, you think about Rivers. And oh, don't forget, you have Baldwin inside and Collins. I mean, they're just stacked from top to bottom.
6 different players have led NC State in scoring this season. James and Rivers each have 30-point performances. First time since 2010, 2011. That has happened for the Wolfpack.
Couple of the last offensive possessions for Georgia Tech, a bit rushed. They're not getting those open shots now. They've shot some contested ones recently.
Georgia Tech 0 for 4 their last couple times down the floor, a 340 scoring drought. They get another chance here, though, on the rebound.
I think Collins could have worked a bit harder to get a better shot there. One dribble pull-up. Defense was still there. She could have worked a little harder to create something more for herself or for a teammate.
Morgan surveying. Tough pass. Able to keep it. Calm it down a little bit. Some of the players are saying to each other right now. Morgan in traffic. Laredo got it!
Coach Nell Fortner just yelled to her team, yes! Because you can see that the offense now is starting to click. They're getting a piece of the paint. They're kicking it out to shooters. And most importantly, shooters are knocking down shots with confidence.
Huge bucket this team needed. Approaching a nearly 4-minute scoring drought. Yellow Jackets looking to keep the momentum and confidence going.
Talked about James. We've seen her hit a number of mid-range shots, but she can also stroke it from the outside. And then on the other side, it's Laredo getting in on the 3-point action. Good pass by Toni Morgan. Toni Morgan's always got some celebrations, too. You got to keep your eye on her. She's got a few celebrations that are always pretty good.
Oh, always fun to watch. That last time down the floor, Aisha Adonis gets called for the foul. That's her first. Coming in and providing some relief here as a couple players get a break for Georgia Tech after a very hot shooting start. They're 67% now from the field, so cooled off a little bit as we pointed out that scoring drought. And Collins goes to the line for 2, makes the first. Hey, I think Jack's still holding on to this lead, though.
Well, and I'm impressed right now with just the way that they have had multiple players scoring the basketball. Dunn already with 15. You've seen Morgan now has 9. Blackshear's chipped in 4. But for NC State, it's been really James. James is 15, and everyone else, 4 points, 2 points. For Georgia Tech, find a way to stop James right now.
Surprising for an NC State team that has 5 players averaging in double figures. have so many quiet at this point. That's the one thing Coach Moore. Oh, how about the deep three? Augusta showing off her range.
It's your worst fear as a player when the road team shoots better than you on your home court. You don't want that to happen, and right now, Georgia Tech is hot.
Brooks brings in the O-board. Second chance for Rivers. Comes up short.
Good box out by Morgan and Dunn. Oh, but then they give it away. Trying to catch Johnson on the run. It's a bit too overzealous there from the sophomore and Tony Morgan. Taking it back, Joe, to the three by Augusta. Look how deep that was. Almost touching the logo. Not afraid to knock down threes. Talk about the celebration, too.
Okay. Had a couple with a little bit of swag for the Yellow Jackets, but that's the kind of confidence you want to see from a team that's coming off of a big win, following a couple of tight losses. You got to just keep the faith, and something that Coach Fortner talked about was feeling like her team was getting good looks. They had good ball movement in a couple of those losses. They just couldn't get shots to fall, and it's hard when that happens to maintain the confidence and keep shooting those shots. That's what she's been encouraging her team to do.
Especially with a young team, Kylan. I mean, we talk about the main players for Georgia Tech. Tony Morgan is a sophomore. Kayla Blackshear, a junior. Sydney Johnson is one of the actual seniors on this team, the fifth year. But Naredo, also a sophomore, and so is Dunn. You talk about their super sophomore group, and we've got young talent also scoring the basketball. Zoe Brooks hits a jumper.
Brooks with a pair of made field goals in this matchup. She has 4. Yellow Jackets team, though, really clicking on the other end.
Notice how the defense has picked up for the Wolfpack. They weren't stepping outside the three-point line. They were playing a pack line, but now they started to put more pressure on the perimeter.
Morgan, kick out. Augusta got it! Oh! Well, this Georgia Tech team making NC State honest. They've struggled from 3 in their last couple of outings, as there's Baldwin with the answer.
Good decision to get Baldwin a touch. She's been a bit quiet here, but when she's one-on-one in the post, especially a day like today, she should look to score and dominate with her size. 6'5" inside.
Yellow Jackets really turning things around from beyond the arc. They shot just 21% from deep against Clemson, just over 18.5% in their prior game against Miami. There's Blackshear with that little jumper that Coach wants her to keep taking.
Oh, well, man, Tony Morgan did a great job of operating the screen. They tried to ice it and keep her on one side. Blackshear with the short roll and able to knock down that 15-footer. Tell you what, everything right now is going right for the Yellow Jackets, and they're starting to build a bit of a lead.
I want to mention, as Blackshear has 6 points now, that Tony Morgan has 7 assists. So you talk about her ability not just to score, but assist, set up her teammates. You pointed it out, can do a variety of things. Right now, she's been the maestro for what's been a very hot Georgia Tech offense. Augusta makes the extra pass. Johnson offline.
I thought Augusta should have shot the ball. I thought she had a little bit more space in daylight. She should have shot the ball, but who else but Isaiah James getting through the lane and then drawing the contact.
Augusta heating up as well, now with 8 points, 3 of 3 from the floor, 2 of 2 from beyond the arc. And one of those, you pointed out, raising the logo. Also has a board here in this one.
Well, I thought in watching their last game versus Clemson, she did a great job of just checking into the basketball game and looking to shoot. She picks her spots well, not afraid to put the ball in the basket. Had 14 in their last game versus Clemson.
Morgan called for the foul in this last play as James makes the first. Coming up on the Intuit TurboTax halftime report, we're going to talk a little bit about the NCAA committee rankings, take a look ahead at what possibly could come in the NCAA tournament, along with the best moments from the first half of action, some of the stats from the first half of what has been an excellent half here inside of Reynolds Coliseum. That's all coming up on the TurboTax halftime report. Be sure to stick around, under a minute to go.
Good defense from the Wolfpack. Did a great job of forcing Blackshear to shoot a contested shot. They're showing a lot of help right now on those drives.
So it's a 6-point lead for the Yellow Jackets, but Baldwin gets it inside.
Beautiful dump down pass from the show, Miss James.
Little miscommunication. James running out, drawing the foul. Head coach Nell Fortner frustrated. Understandably.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I've ever seen this happen. But she threw the ball, then couldn't be the first one to touch it was Blackshear, and then tried to go for the block. And James is smart here because someone could say, why didn't you pull the ball out? But instead she's like, I'm just going to attack the post player one-on-one and see if I can make something happen out of nothing. And in that situation, if you're Blackshear or if you're Johnson, you pick up the ball first. Pick up the ball first, tie the shoe later.
James coming out just so hot in this first half. 17 points, 7 of 9 from the floor, and a big turnaround from a couple of quiet games by her standards. 5 points, went 2 of 11, along with 5 rebounds, 8 steals, and 2 assists against Pitt. So was able to impact the game in some other ways, but just not her best shooting game necessarily. But still just been outstanding in this one. It seems to not missed as she gets the friendly roll on the free throw. Also had just 11 points against Notre Dame. Again, a little bit quiet by her standards, that is, these last couple games. But man, she's been red hot here in the first half.
Leading all scorers with 19.
10 to go here. Morgan with the tough take. Fight for the rebound. Collins has it. Pushing of the pack. James with the last shot, and she gets it! NC State takes the lead just before the half. The crowd goes wild. A 9-0 run for the Wolfpack heading into the locker room.
If you want to know why they're the number 6 team in the country, this is why. Because they close out halves. Beautiful transition jump shot from James. Talk about the freshman, and Zoe Brooks got in the game and made things happen as well. And the Wolfpack now up 1 at the half.
How about the Pack just storming back after trailing to Georgia Tech from early in this one. They take the 1-point lead going into halftime break. The Intuit TurboTax halftime report coming up after this. Stick around. A great one underway. The CW carrying ACC Women's Hoops. Welcome to the halftime report brought to you by Intuit TurboTax. Make your moves count. Making the first half of action count was the NC State Wolfpack, able to come from behind to steal the 1-point lead heading into the halftime break over the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets after Georgia Tech came out red hot in the first quarter, went 7 for 7 from the floor, their first couple tries, but NC State just storming back there before the halftime break. Let's take a look at the ACC standings as they stand right now, because games, of course, going on this Sunday. NC State right there in third, 10-3 on the season. 2 of those 3 losses coming to 12th ranked Georgia Tech atop the standings. For whatever reason, sometimes teams have your number, and then there's Syracuse right in the mix. I mean, this is going to be a battle to see who finishes it at the top.
Virginia Tech on an 8-game win streak, which in ACC play is almost unheard of. And then Syracuse, you mentioned it, but they're on a 4-game win streak as well. I've been impressed with what they've showed. And then so interesting right now that we're talking about the 8th team in the conference is number 16 in the country. I mean, it just goes to show you how deep the ACC can go. And we talk about NCAA tournament, possibly 8, maybe 9 teams could sneak in there. Just a deep conference.
And you look at a lot of these ranked teams, for example, Syracuse, 3 of their 4 losses on the season were in ACC play. NC State, all of their losses have been in ACC play. Just a loaded conference. Now, we'll have more on the Intuit TurboTax halftime report coming up after a quick break. Welcome back to the Intuit TurboTax halftime report. Appreciate you being here watching ACC basketball on the CW. Got some dancers entertaining the crowd here at Reynolds Coliseum. They're doing an awesome job, and the basketball has been quite entertaining as well, with North Carolina State leading the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets by 1 here at the halftime break. A lot on the line here down the stretch in February. ACC play going into the ACC tournament because everyone has their eye on the NCAA tournament, and the NCAA Women's Basketball Committee just released their first top 16, giving you an idea of where these teams stand. And this is huge because you want the opportunity to host those opening round games. And when you look at these numbers and these teams, what sticks out to you?
Yeah, I mean, just the depth of the ACC. You've got NC State at number 6. You've got Virginia Tech at 10. And then you also have Louisville, who has snuck in there at 16. And if they can finish their conference play with wins, I think they'll climb a little bit higher. But, man, NC State has just been so good this season. 6 wins over top 25 teams. The only other team that's done that is number 1 in the country, undefeated South Carolina. So it just gives you an idea of what the Wolfpack have been able to do throughout the course of this season. And then they're also the top ACC team in the net because they have played the toughest competition. And that's what really gets you ready for March, is a tough non-conference slate. And then you know in conference, it's a dogfight every day in the ACC.
The Wolfpack, the only team in the ACC with those 6 top 25 wins, 13 straight weeks in the top 10 of the AP poll, and they're looking good heading into the NCAA tournament. But still a second half to be played here. We'll be right back in just a moment. Welcome back to the Intuit TurboTax halftime report. 6th-ranked NC State and Georgia Tech going toe-to-toe through the first half of action. 1-point ball game here at the halftime break. Hello and welcome back into Reynolds Coliseum. Isis Young and Kyla Mills here with you. This Georgia Tech team came out red hot, but NC State made some defensive adjustments. And Georgia Tech went into the halftime break with about a 2+ minute scoring drought while the Wolfpack were able to start to heat up. What changed there in that second quarter?
The defense for the Wolfpack. I thought they were more intense defensively, which led to better opportunities offensively. And then Isaiah James, I mean, when you can get a player to score 22 points in a half, you're going to be in good company. And she done it in a really fun way as well. But first, though, it started with the three-point shooting of the Yellow Jackets, shooting 70% from 3, 7 of 10. It's been multiple players that have knocked down threes. Kara Dunn has knocked down 3. Augusta Nida has also knocked down 2. So they've gotten bench production as well, which is an area that Georgia Tech wanted to grow. And so they've had players step in the game and knock down shots. But for NC State, it has really been Isaiah James. I mean, 22 points in the first half, 8 of 10 from the field. She's also a perfect 4-4 from the free throw line. But talk about finding different ways to score, whether it's been a pull-up jump shot, whether it's been in transition, whether it's been a 3 from the wing. She has just done everything for the Wolfpack, and you see why they're the number 6 team in the country, because they've just got so many offensive weapons.
James has played the full 40 minutes in 3 of their last 4 games. You talk about her doing everything. She doesn't come off the floor. But here's a look at the Intuit TurboTax halftime stats. Georgia Tech started to slow down, as I mentioned. Cool off 63% from the floor. NC State 52%. Anything else from these stats surprise you?
I would keep your eye on in the second half, folks, points off of turnovers. NC State with 12 right now, and I have to believe that Wes Moore is going to tell his team to pick up the defensive intensity in the second half. Yellow Jackets going to make sure that they take care of the basketball and get a shot every time down the floor, because when they have, they're shooting it 63% from the field.
Yeah, that's not bad. But turnover is something that Coach Fortner said is going to be key for the Yellow Jackets. They had 15 in their game against Clemson, 17 in losses to Syracuse and Notre Dame recently. This has been the Intuit TurboTax halftime report. Appreciate you being with us. Second half action between Georgia Tech and North Carolina State next. You're watching ACC basketball on the CW, brought to you by Ram Trucks, built to serve. Swag and surfing here inside of Reynolds Coliseum after NC State came charging back in the second quarter after trailing Georgia Tech that came out red hot shooting in this game. Now can they continue that momentum? Went into the halftime break with a 9-0 run, made some adjustments, as you pointed out, Ice, and then Isaiah James. Can she continue to shoot the lights out the gym? The big question.
16 games she's had this season where she scored 15+ points, and we still have a whole second half to go.
5 games with 20+, had the first 30-point game of her career against Duke, putting up 33. So Isaiah James very likely not done here, and neither is this matchup. What a pass. Tough take by Rivers, won't go.
Well, it was a great play call out of the half to get an easy bucket. It should have been first an alley-oop. The timing was off, and then Rivers is not able to finish the one in the paint.
Opportunity here for Georgia Tech to retake the lead. tough spinning shot from Blackshear.
Yeah, if you're Blackshear being guarded by Baldwin, who's at 6'5", you got to move around her, not through her, as Madison Hayes gets in on the action, a 46% three-point shooter.
Hayes, with some time there to take that three, averages more than 12 points and about 6.5 boards per game, coming off a 16-point outing against Notre Dame, in addition to a 16-point outing the prior game against Pitt. Playing really well as of late. Is Dunn. Misses everything. Pitch ahead pass to James. Finishes it off. This is NC State's biggest lead of the game. They're up 6 now. Timeout on the floor. Head coach Westmore clapping it up for his team.
The Wolfpack starting the third quarter strong, running and gunning in transition. Up 6 at home.
Sixth-ranked NC State has scored the last 14 in this ball game, going back to the second quarter, and now they have their largest lead of the game, up 47-41. Georgia Tech going to have to figure things out here, and third quarters are not their strong suit, something Coach Fortner said has been an Achilles heel for this group. They're getting outscored by 82 in ACC games, and on the season, it's the only quarter where they're getting outscored. What needs to change right now for the Yellow Jackets?
It's the intentionality offensively. Their first few possessions offensively have seemed rushed. They haven't gotten good shots. They've been forcing shots. And then defensively, making sure they continue to rebound, keeping NC State off of the boards. You want to control this game and trying to win the rebounding battle.
NC State with a 5-1 edge in O boards. 4-0 edge in second chance points. A 3 rattles out from Dunn. Chance in transition here for the Pack. Rivers finds Collins. Turnaround, tough shot. Touch shot of play. Yellow Jackets ball.
That was a good dig by Naredo. I think she made Collins just a little uncomfortable there. And then a forced shot from Collins. Thought she could have worked harder to get better look at the basket.
Collins having a bit of a quiet game. 4 points, 3 boards, just 1 of 5 from the floor. Mentioned she's coming off a lower body injury, so maybe working on a little bit of, working some of the rust off, getting back into the swing of things here. Yeah, Dunn. Nice pass. But the foul is called going the other direction. Coach Fortner not happy about that one as Dunn gets called for her second.
Dunn gets in the lane, she jumps off, and River Baldwin was there. I thought about what Coach Westmore said earlier. He said, well, River Baldwin is our rim protector, but she does it through taking charges. She's not going to block your shot. She's going to get in position, and she's going to accept the contact and draw the charge, exactly what she did there. That's hard to do from a 6'5" center.
Hayes can't cash in. Battle for the board. Yellow Jackets come up with it. Pushing in transition here is Morgan. Naredo pulls up. Nice pass. Blackshear cashes in.
Thought that could have been an and one, too. A little bit of contact, but a beautiful pass there by Naredo. And a quick finish from Blackshear.
Blackshear now has 8. That shot won't go. Talk about the third quarter disparity. Even their win over Clemson, this Georgia Tech team trailed 27-12 in the third quarter. They went into the halftime with the lead and then had to battle back. But here's the takeaway for the Pack. Rivers draws the foul. A little slow to get up there on the other end is Inez Naredo, sophomore guard, native of Spain, coming off her second double-double of the season against Clemson.
And Naredo tried to get back, tried to take the charge, and was still moving. And she's holding the back of her head. Good to see her up, though. Glad she's okay.
Naredo, an important piece of this team. We talk about a number of players scoring in this game. Not one who's been super active in terms of point production. Just 3 points so far. 1 of 4 from the field. 1 of 2 from three-point land, along with 3 boards. See CW Courtside Saturday returns this week with another epic doubleheader. First, Virginia Tech heads to the Steel City to take on Pitt. Then in primetime, Florida State looks for the upset against tournament hopeful Clemson. CW Courtside Saturday this week at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Pacific, only on the CW. Lots of ACC action, and this time of year, man, so much fun to watch. Doesn't get any better as anyone can do anything when it comes to the postseason, so you want to be playing hot and winning ball games right now. 5-point ball game here in Reynolds Coliseum. Augusta Naite offline. A rare miss for her from beyond the arc. Rivers calling her own number as James couldn't get the roll. Maybe a little bit of a heat check after the way she's been playing. Foul called, though, on the floor as both teams battled for the rebounds. Augusta Naite gets called for her second.
Yeah, great activity on the weak side boards by Madison Hayes. That's the 6th offensive rebound for the Wolfpack. Great teams, when they offensive rebound, the mentality is you expect a miss. Whether you think your teammates are the best shooters in the world, you expect a miss and you crash the boards every single time, and that's what the Wolfpack do.
Hayes here going to the line. Player we pointed out in the open has been great. Has just 5 points in this ball game. Senior guard out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. Also transferred in from Mississippi State after her freshman season, where she was an SEC all-freshman selection. And here's some full court pressure from the Wolfpack.
I like that decision from the Wolfpack, just to put a little bit of pressure on Georgia Tech. But you attack pressure with pressure. Good cut by Blackshear. Good find by Dunn.
Blackshear now in double figures. She has 10, 5 of 8 from the floor. Trying for the entry pass, denied. Out and running is Morgan. And there's the finish. Transition bucket for the Yellow Jackets.
And I thought that they could steal a bit more points in the fast break opportunities. And when Toni Morgan gets a steal in that middle of the third area of the court, she is most certainly attacking in transition.
This Pack team with 18 points of their own in transition. James can't get the roll again. There's the putback opportunity.
It is so hard to rebound out of a zone. Georgia Tech has been in a zone for the last few possessions, so you're not matched up man-to-man, but they have got to find a way to at least put a body on Madison Hayes.
Hayes now with 8 points, right as I was saying. She's been a little bit quiet in this game. She's come to life. Morgan gets the roll.
Good screen there by the freshman, and Termes that's checked in. The 6'6" freshman playing big minutes right now in the third quarter.
Morgan now in double digits. She has 11. Baldwin, the O-board. Bad pass, though. Morgan with the takeaway. Tries to get it off to Blackshear. Out of play. NC State basketball. Some frustration there, as you pointed out. Got to be able to capitalize in transition. 2-point ball game. NC State on top. ACC basketball on the CW is brought to you by Ram Trucks, built to serve. Welcome back inside of Reynolds Coliseum. NC State holding the 2-point lead late in quarter number 3. And you just pointed out, Isis, the points in the paint disparity. Getting paint touches so important for any offense to be able to spread the floor. But what's been working for Georgia Tech?
Yeah, I just thought they've been cutting to the basket well, and they've also gotten a couple of points in transition. And again, when you can get steals, then your offense leads to your defense leads to your offense. That is how this team would like to play. They pick up a foul, though, unfortunately, on the baseline.
All of Georgia Tech's points in the third quarter have come from the paint.
That's a good stat, John. Thanks so much for that.
Shout out to John getting it done, and now there is a foul, though, on the Yellow Jackets. It's Augusta Naite. Ball out of play here right in front of us. I hope you were ready to hold that off.
Yeah, well, it was off someone's head. It was off Termes' head, and so referee, yeah, look, Wes Moore had it. I saw that, but yeah, ball was thrown in, and it just touched Termes' head. Yep.
Looked like it was the ponytail.
Yeah, yep. Might have knocked the bun off a little bit.
Baldwin with a sweet touch.
Like you mentioned, just really good touch around the basket. She's always moving, too. One of those post players that's constantly relocating, constantly trying to find an angle and make herself available for the ball.
Baldwin's so efficient, 8 points, shooting more than 57% from the floor on the season, 4 of 5 today so far. Laredo with a sweet touch of her own.
Beautiful pull-up jump shot. I tell you what, you can tell Georgia Tech works on their mid-range jumpers. A lot of coaches think it's the worst shot in a game of basketball, but if you can make layups and threes, then why can't you find a way to make shots within the mid-range? And Georgia Tech has just shown off that ability today.
Laredo getting it done that time. She has 5 now. Corner 3 offline. 2-point ball game here. Georgia Tech with a chance to tie or take the lead on this possession. With under 4 to go here in the third. That one will go out of play, but it will stay with the Yellow Jackets.
I'd like to see Toni Morgan get some touches getting downhill, whether it's off a handoff or maybe a ball screen, but she's so good for this team when she can get downhill.
Oh, Dunn knocks down the corner tray.
Off of what? Toni Morgan getting downhill, get a piece of the paint. She attracts so much attention. You have to guard her with multiple players because she is so athletic at getting by you, especially one-on-one. How about Dunn, though, knocking down shots from the outside, her 4th triple of the afternoon, excuse me.
She has 20 now. As Rivers gets through traffic, can't get the finish.
They were really impressed by this young Georgia Tech team, the way they weathered that storm in the third quarter. NC State came out strong, momentum on their home court, built a lead of 6, but the Yellow Jackets have had a response.
Blackshear trying to find the pass. Nice cut, and the shot goes from Laredo.
Beautiful cut by Laredo. She wanted the handoff, saw that Brooks was denying that, and then went back door.
7-0 run here for the Yellow Jackets. Another miss for the Pack.
Yeah, that's 3 empty trips in a row for the Pack, and Georgia Tech rebounding, forcing them to be one and done. And I was going to say, during this stretch right now, who's not on the court? Isaiah James. And can you see the difference now in what NC State looks like without James on the floor?
Huge impact. Morgan can't get it to go. On the drive, kick out. Rivers rises up. No. Out of play. Georgia Tech ball.
4 empty trips in a row. A lot of contested jump shots. And then the Yellow Jackets doing a good job of boxing out and rebounding.
245 scoring drought. NC State, mentioned it, one of the best rebounding teams in the country. Still does have the edge, 23-19, but Georgia Tech battling here these last couple possessions. The Pack, though, the 8-1 edge in O-board, certainly going to be an area of concern for Coach Fortner. Laredo, nice pass. Oh, what a dish.
Man, Laredo showing us a little bit of what she can do. She's had some assists. She's also pulled up and knocked down some shots, but just a good movement off the ball. And NC State that time was slow on their rotation weak side.
3-2 strong, 9th O-board of the game for NC State. Spinning is Hayes, can't get the roll.
Battle, look at the battle on the boards. You can tell every Yellow Jacket now trying to make sure that they get in the mix and rebound.
Morgan pulls it back out.
And running their offense. You know, that's something to think about as well. As we talked a couple of times about Georgia Tech shooting the ball late in the shot clock. But what it forces is NC State to play defense for 20, 25 seconds. That will wear a team out.
Yellow Jackets fighting for the O-board. They'll keep it as it goes out of play. Rather
here on the weak side, watch Blackshear just continue to roll, and then Brooks was late on the rotation. Bit of a freshman mistake as the Yellow Jackets make them pay, but pay attention to the clock here. Only 2.9 seconds on the shot clock.
Blackshear for 3, no. Reverse the rebound. Just about a 4-second differential here between the game clock and shot clock. Georgia Tech up 5. Wolfpack looking to close the gap. James. Brooks. Oof, tough shot. Gets the roll. 2 to shoot. Dunn pulls up. Comes up short. Valiant effort, but it's the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets who still hold on to the lead at the end of 3, 58-55. That third quarter, though, a back-and-forth battle. Can the Yellow Jackets close it out in the fourth? Welcome back inside of Reynolds Coliseum. A battle underway between Georgia Tech and NC State. A sold-out crowd here, certainly getting their money's worth. It's the Yellow Jackets looking to hold on to a 3-point lead heading into quarter number 4. Let's take a look at what's going on around the ACC, presented by T-Mobile. Lots of critical matchups going on this Sunday. Pitt and Clemson getting ready to close out that one, but 12th-ranked Georgia Tech going toe-to-toe with 18th-ranked Louisville and a 19th-ranked Syracuse looking to keep their hot play going against a Virginia team that can surprise you. They've pulled off a couple upsets this season, so hey, anyone can win on any day, as we're seeing right now in the ACC. Georgia Tech may be pulling off a big upset if they can finish out strong in this fourth quarter.
Oh yeah, and then we've got the in-state Florida rivalry. It's FSU and Miami. We had that game 3 weeks ago. Talk about fast-paced basketball, athletic guards. It was a track meet in there, Kyle, and I was like, whoa, I don't know this sport. Hold on, they're just running and shooting right now.
Oh, that one was fun to watch. Hard to call, though, because it was almost difficult to keep up with the action because it was transition, 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 run, run, run. Foul called, though, here on the floor. That one's going to go against Isaiah James. That's her second. So far, neither team dealing with any major foul trouble, something to note. No one has 3 fouls yet here as quarter number 4 gets underway. Travel called. Dunn got hung up a little bit.
Yeah, we've talked about Isaiah James in terms of her offensive production, but she's also a very good defender, normally known for drawing fouls, but she does a great job of staying in front, and she forced the travel on Dunn.
This Wolfpack defense going to have to lock down in the final stretch. Her steal. Can't get the 3. Morgan off and running. Pulls up. Calls her own number and knocks it down.
Yeah, that's money for Tony Morgan. If you don't know it by now, you have to know the scout. That is money. She loves a 15-foot jump shot, a pull-up in transition. It's going to go down for every time.
Oh, and there's another jump shot. That one from Madison Hayes.
Yeah, you're thinking about NC State right now, though, as the crowd gets into it, because they're aware it's the fourth quarter, and they've got to find a way to find a strength defensively. We talked to Wes Moore about the big win they had their last game against Notre Dame, holding the 16-team Irish to just 43 points in that game. But here today, they have not been able to stop Georgia Tech. They've knocked down 3s. They have 8 of them in this game. They're also shooting 59% from the field. I remember when it was 4 minutes left in the first quarter, and we were talking about they're 7 of 7, and we said in the break, I was like, well, it's going to cool down eventually. I was wrong. It has not cooled down. NC State has to do something different defensively to get this game to change.
Well, a big reason why is Georgia Tech has been scoring in a number of different ways, and when you knock down the 3 ball, you force them to guard you outside. We just saw in this last possession, Morgan's able to get to the cup because you play her too hard out in the perimeter. She can use that quick first step. Now for NC State, they got to do something different. What is it? If you're Wes Moore right now.
Yeah, I'm thinking about mixing up ball screen coverage. If you're looking at Tony Morgan, and just right now, she got a double-double, folks. 14 points, 10 assists. She's also got 6 rebounds on triple-double watch. But I'm thinking when she's coming off a ball screen, trap her, double her, get the ball out of her hands, and make her more of a passer. As Hayes gets the and one, fired up is Madison Hayes.
Hayes closing the gap. NC State trailing by 2 with a chance to make it 1 at the free throw line.
Off the jab step, she attacked the 6'6" Termis and got the finish inside.
Nareda was there, hit the deck, gets called for her second.
And that's where the youth for Nell Fortner is, where you can see it a little bit. Nareda on that one just has to let it go, right? Nell Fortner told us, I can't get the foul back, but I can get the 2 points back. We can work to get that back.
Absolutely. Morgan dealing with a little foul trouble. Had a quiet game against Clemson because she got 2 early in that game. And for her to have this type of production, she's got to be on the floor. Can't take herself out of the game. Oh, what a move. Blackshear denied. Ball out of play.
How about this dribble, though, from Toni Morgan off the bounce, and then the recovery. James, that is James. She went for the block, and on the way down, went with another hand, and then got the deflection. Just beautiful defensive awareness from James. I've been so impressed with watching her play. I mean, again, right, we're talking about top 10 team in the country, so you know they have the best players in the country, but Isaiah James is just different, folks.
James, an all-ACC freshman team selection, now in her junior season. You can see how well she reads the game. That 3 is offline. Pointed out she played a full 40 minutes in 3 of the last 4 games, and a big reason why is because what she does on both ends of the floor. You look at the scoring, you automatically point to that, but she also is a great defender.
Now you think about watching just ACC basketball across, and the guards. What I love about the guards in the ACC is they are two-way players. Hannah Hidalgo from Notre Dame gets down and plays defense. We talk about Tanaya Latson from FSU, gets down and plays defense. Toni Morgan from Georgia Tech plays defense. You can't just score the basketball in the ACC. You also got to defend some of the best players in the country. That's what makes it so hard.
Dunn, by the way, with 3 fouls, so she'll have to be a little more careful here. Blackshear, too strong from the top of the key.
That's not the shot they want. Blackshear in 15, 17 foot is different than her shooting a 3.
Baseline jumper won't go. Second try falls for James.
26 for James. And the Coliseum is on his feet.
This place is rocking. Tie ball game at 61 apiece, the 5th tie of this matchup. Just over 7 minutes to go here in the 4th quarter. Time for some clutch basketball. Extra pass. 3 ball won't go. James off and running. James goes in herself. Foul called. Waved off. Foul is called on James. That's going to be her 3rd.
So we look back to a couple plays ago where we saw Laredo trying to slide in and take a charge, and she got called for the block. This time she gets her feet set, but where I would like to challenge Isaiah James, one of the best guards in the country, is to know the scout. You know that Laredo likes to take the charge. So can you give an up fake? Can you step through? Can you finish around her? Because you know that that's how she wants to play defense in the half court.
You got to admire the aggression from Isaiah James to go up with that with 2 defenders in front of her, but you also have to be smart about how you do it. KYP, Morgan, denied inside. Blackshear with a second chance opportunity.
That is a huge bucket for Kayla Blackshear. I'm telling you guys, just every time Georgia Tech has had a response.
Blackshear with 14, giving the Yellow Jackets a 2-point lead. 7 of 13 from the floor. Has taken 2 threes. Interesting to see her firing from beyond the arc. She's only made 2 on the season. That one taken away.
Yeah, good defense from Dunn. She read the drift pass off the baseline perfectly.
Morgan pulling it back out, getting some direction from Coach Fortner. Nine to shoot. Dunn from beyond the arc. Yes!
Wow. Wow. Come on, Georgia Tech. Number 16 on the road.
5-point ball game and a 5-point lead for the Yellow Jackets. Crowd got real quiet after that last 3. My goodness, from how rocking it was just a minute prior. You could hear a pin drop in here after that one fell.
Kara Dunn has just been exceptional today. 5 of 7 from 3. And who else but Toni Morgan with another assist? That's 11 for her. And Dunn going to get a well-deserved breather. She also picked up her 4th foul, but with 5 minutes left to go, it's not much of a concern. I think Nell Ford is going to give her about a minute rest and then get her back in this game to see if they can finish strong.
Baldwin denied. Collins with a second chance and 1.
Amy Collins has been quiet today, but now would be a great time for her to start to show her dominance inside off the offensive rebound. They forgot to box her out, and she'll make you pay every time. The and one for Collins.
Collins averaging 11.5 points, nearly 6.5 boards per game, but even more production in ACC games, averaging more than 13. Starting to get up closer to that average as she now has 7. 2-point ball game here. Crowd on its feet. Morgan. Wasn't going to go up on Baldwin there. Black sheer. Baseline jumper offline.
It was good defense by Baldwin to show a hand to Morgan so she wouldn't get into a pull-up jump shot.
Yeah, Baldwin, 6'5" center. Tough defender to run into with a hand in the face. Baldwin on the other end. Push called from behind. Some frustration there from Aisha Adonas. 2-point ball game here. This one coming down to the wire. Don't go anywhere. ACC basketball on the CW is brought to you by Walmart. We don't just have everything, we have your thing. Check out the renovated facilities that NC State has. That's a sleeping pod that River Baldwin is sitting in right there. We got to check it out. Very cool. All renovated locker rooms. They had water massage chairs, which is pretty awesome. Here's the Walmart game summary, though, and it's been the three-point shooting for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets that's really kept them in this game. 9 of 18 from beyond the arc. And you pointed out, too, they weathered the third-quarter storm and won that third quarter. Huge.
Huge for the Yellow Jackets, especially on the road. Just thought that they showed so much composure, and maturity is the word that comes to mind. Now, Fortner talked to us about this young squad, the majority of the squad, sophomores and freshmen, but they're on the road versus a very good top 10 team, and it's a tie ball game, and they've got the ball.
Under 5 to play. This is what it's all about in February ACC Women's Hoops. Fourth quarter underway. Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets looking for their first top 10 win since December of 2021. Morgan. Whistle blows, foul called.
Now, I had thought about this earlier before our break when Morgan was going to pull up in front of River Baldwin, and she didn't want to shoot the ball because Baldwin is a post player and she'll block her shot. But against a guard that is trying to recover off of the screen, you can draw that. I think it was a good opportunity for her to pull up and shoot that.
Hayes called for the foul. She knocks down the first free throw. Should mention, by the way, NC State is in the bonus. Next foul, Georgia Tech will be in the bonus as well. .420 to go. NC State now trailing by 2. Rivers pulling it back out. 8 to shoot now. Hayes. Collins tries it from the baseline. Got it. Big shot from Mimi Collins. Tie ball game. Fans on their feet. This is fun. Morgan. Augustinida coming off the screen, deflection, takeaway. Rivers finds James, draws the foul. Big defensive play, though, by NC State, and big transition opportunity.
Well, NC State just so long. It was Rivers that got the deflection, and then James getting out in transition. And when the two of them can combine in the open court, it is fun basketball to watch.
Augustinida called for her third. Just 3:25 remaining. Maybe not a huge concern. James at the free throw line knocks it down. A 73.5% free throw shooter. And this is the first NC State lead in the fourth quarter, so big for them to take it at this point in the game. Can they carry this momentum down the stretch? 7 ties, 5 lead changes in this ball game.
If you're Georgia Tech right now, you got to stay composed. Run your offense. Continue to go at the actions that have worked for you.
Morgan calls her own number, does it again. Tony Morgan, unstoppable, 18 points, 50% from the field.
You can't let her get into her pull-up. I mean, her pull-up is her bread and butter.
Hayes tries to respond. Battle for the rebound, touched out of play. Crowd booing. It's called Georgia Tech basketball.
Yeah, Tony Morgan so good. Coming off a ball screen here. Hayes goes over the screen and then gets just that little bit of pivot, that little stop and pause to get some separation to knock it down. That is beautiful. Mind you, folks, she's only a sophomore.
Morgan with the arc on that shot, able to get it up over the hands. Just incredible to watch.
I mean, she's had the ball here down the stretch for the Yellow Jackets, and the step through and one. Kylan!
We're about to fall out of our seats here courtside because Tony Morgan is putting on a show down the stretch. 20 points now.
And the step through, the left-hand finish through contact. Super sophomore is what we call Tony Morgan.
Morgan with a double-double, 11 assists, 20 points, now at the free throw line, 6 rebounds. She makes that one.
Tony Morgan only played 18 minutes and 38 seconds in her last game because of foul trouble. But here she's made every minute count.
Hayes draws the foul. Morgan has 10 points in this fourth quarter. Talk about coming alive in the clutch. Like I said, calling her own number, you point out that pull-up, man, it's just special to watch.
The luxury for Nell Fortner, where you can say, give the ball to Tony Morgan, set a screen, and get out the way.
Laredo called for the foul on the other end. Free throw doesn't go for Hayes. Free throw shooting so important here down the stretch of a close game. Hayes a 75% free throw shooter, so not often, or at least too often, that she misses. Makes the second.
Well, that's been one of the disparities in this game, in which NC State has the clear advantage. They've knocked down 16 free throws, and Georgia Tech just 4.
NC State, a pretty good free throw shooting team, more than 74%, 6th in the ACC coming into this game. They're 4th in the conference as well as free throw attempts, 3rd in free throw makes, because they do have players who can draw the contact, are good at getting to the line. Now, can they take advantage of it down the stretch? Both these teams in the bonus with this being a 2-point ball game.
Yeah, if you're Georgia Tech, you continue to go with what has worked. I mean, when you give the ball to Tony Morgan and she's able to get a piece of the paint, whether she's scoring or whether she's facilitating, she's been dynamic. Kara Dunn still has 23 points, Blackshear 14, and then Augustinitis, her 8 has made a difference off of the bench, and then Laredo with 7, but it's just been a balanced scoring attack, and this is something we haven't seen a lot from Georgia Tech, right? Nell Fortner told us, hey, some days we'll get 2 out of our 5 that are on the same track. Some days we'll get 3, but today they've gotten a full 5, and on the road versus the number 6 team in the country, it has been a very good showing for the Yellow Jackets.
Next Sunday, it's the season finale of CW Women's Hoops as the Cavaliers head to Louisville looking for the upset as they face the powerful Cardinals. Virginia taking on 18th ranked Louisville next Sunday at 12 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Pacific, only on the CW. So this season, not over yet. Plenty of action to come in the postseason in ACC Women's Hoops, and still a critical last 2:24 remaining in this ballgame between Georgia Tech and NC State. Coach Fortner pointed out last year, a very young group. You look at all these sophomores who were impact players, freshmen last year. There've been a lot of growing pains for this Yellow Jackets team. She said at ACC Media Days starting out the year, that was one of the most challenging of her long coaching career, but now they're starting to see the fruits of their labor. So many of these players have gotten so much better, maturity coming through gameplay.
Well, let's also not forget to tell you how well coached they are. Nell Fortner, one of the best in the business, folks.
Laredo can't get the 3. battle for the rebound. Both these teams so aggressive on the glass down the stretch.
Yeah, great job by River Baldwin there just to pull that one out. That's what you need at the end of games. You need an enforcer in the paint to be strong on the rebounds.
Less than 2 to go. Rivers running the point here for NC State. James. Too strong. Rivers. Baldwin almost came up with a board there.
How about the box out, though, from Laredo? I mean, boxing out the 6'5". Baldwin takes a bit of strength.
That it does. Under a minute and a half to play.
NC State now in a zone, which they haven't been in the fourth quarter. They have been guarding man, but they couldn't find a way to stop Tony Morgan, so now they're packing the paint.
With the 9 threes this Georgia Tech team made, they couldn't go to one earlier. Last chance. Laredo throws it up towards the basket, misses everything. Shot clock violation.
Good decision defensively by Wes Moore and going into that zone, just making Georgia Tech think about something. They haven't had to play against zone during the course of this game, and it results in a shot clock violation.
NC State has not scored in the last 2:47. Had a couple free throws, but haven't scored a field goal. Under a minute to play, trailing by 2. Baldwin, turnarounds, got it! Tie ball game! Some disparity on the floor here. Conversations happening. Once again, officiating crew. Fatu Sissoko Stevens, Brian Brunette, Timothy Bryant. Taking another look here.
Love the high percentage look here. Give it to River Baldwin in the post. Look at that right hand hook shot. Beautiful touch.
The official review is they're taking a look at the clock, is the word that we're being told. Both coaches using this time to taking advantage of this time, using this to talk to their players, trying to figure out what they want to execute down the stretch here. They're going to add 0.7 to the clock, so 0.7 of a second. In a game like this, every single 1/10 of a second counts.
Oh, absolutely. And here's just going to be important for Georgia Tech to get a shot up. And I literally mean get a shot up. They cannot afford to turn the ball over at this point in the game.
About a 15-second difference between the game clock and shot clock. Baseline jumper rattles out. Crowd fired up. Good defense there from the pack.
And that's a decent shot for Blackshear. She can make that. Wes Moore not electing to take a timeout here.
Blackshear with 14. A lot of them have come in the mid-range. Now he is going to call the timeout, right as you were pointing it out. He doesn't often do it, but Moore calls it with 14.6 remaining. This game all tied up at 73 apiece. NC State with the basketball. What are you calling here?
You need 2 options. You need one for a punch option, a post touch. I would give River Baldwin the ball. She just had it. She's made 2 back-to-back really good moves. Find a way to get her the ball on the block. But you also need to have Isaiah James getting open somewhere else, whether it's off of a staggered, whether it's off of maybe a flare screen, but you need to have multiple options here. I would hit the post touch, and then I would also hit James on a chance. But then obviously if you're NC State too, crashing the offensive boards. You've got 14.6 seconds left, so if you get a shot up with 2 or 3 seconds, it might give you an opportunity to offensive rebound.
NC State with 12 O-boards in this matchup. Georgia Tech just 3, so a big area they've been able to take advantage of, leading to the 12-2 edge in second chance points. Isaiah James, 1 basket away from her second 30-point outing of the season. Just talk about the growth from year to year, playing in almost every minute of the last several games. Could the ball end up in her hands here in the final seconds? River Baldwin, though, also the 6'5" graduate student center, brings in a ton of experience. When you look at being a graduate student, you can see the way she reads the game, the high IQ, makes good decisions.
If you're Georgia Tech here defensively, you have to communicate at a high level right now. If the plan is to switch everything, then you switch everything, but you have to communicate. There's going to be a lot of screens set here in this box option.
1.6 second differential between the game clock and shot clock. James goes up, no.
a miss. They forgot to box her out, and she finishes through contact. The junior in the air. Man, that's so good.
Foul called on Tony Morgan. Rivers going to the line with a chance to make it a 3-point lead with 4 seconds remaining. She buries it. Rivers, too, so smart on that offensive board. Just put it right back up. Just throw it back up. No hesitation. You can't afford to hesitate in that situation. Slipped in there on that weak side. It's a 3-point lead here.
Rivers just so athletic, so heady. The junior, her and James have been so good here today, but it has been Isaiah James who gets our player of the game. 28 points, 7 rebounds, 10 of 18 from the field. Just extremely efficient, picking her spots well. They call her the show, and I hope you got to see every bit of it today. She's been constant for them down the stretch.
That's our player of the game, brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance. Visit progressive.com. But man, the thing about this NC State team is they have a multitude of scores. It's not just James. Sanaya Rivers getting it done, coming off her 3rd double-double of the season, had 10 points, 10 boards against Notre Dame. Was named to the Naismith Trophy mid-season list not long ago. Another timeout called, so another opportunity for NC State to try to iron out what they are going to execute on the defensive side of the ball with 4.2 remaining. Now here, Georgia Tech, where are you going?
Yeah, here's where NC State, if you're studying the scout, if they've had a close game throughout the season, you've seen them set up in that set, then you're trying to anticipate where they're going. And so Westmore calls another timeout to get his defense set. But if you're Georgia Tech here, I would love to see Tony Morgan get the ball, create a little bit of havoc, and then find a shooter quickly. Obviously, they haven't had a problem in knocking down threes today. 9 of 20 are the Yellow Jackets, but they need a 3, and probably it's going to be Kara Dunn. She shot it the best here today.
2.5-minute scoring drought for Georgia Tech. Can the Yellow Jackets find a last shot? Ball in play, 2 to go, Dunn gets it! Are you kidding me? Tie ball game, 76 apiece. A last-second 3-ball. Nell Fortner fired up. This Georgia Tech team doesn't say die.
Man, ACC women's basketball doesn't get much better than this, folks. This was a broken play. The ball was for Gusanida. Karen Dunn making sure she saw it, and then just gets the little daylight over James, who played perfect defense. And Nell Fortner, absolutely. I mean, when we talked to her about just what this team has been through this season, and 6-8 in the ACC, and they've been trying to put wins together back-to-back, coming off a close one at Clemson. But man, and what they've been able to do today offensively, 10 threes, 46%, shooting 51% from the floor. I mean, it has just been sustained throughout this 40 minutes of play, and now we've got 5 more. And I tell you what, you start to think about now fatigue. Both teams have played their starters a lot of minutes. You start to think about who has that extra motor, who has that extra energy at the end of a game.
Georgia Tech, their last couple games, even in the losses, Coach Fortner feels like they've played better. It's just been a matter of closing them out. You look at how they played against a 23rd-ranked Syracuse team back on February 8th, not long ago, a 3-point loss. They had a very close game as well against Miami, another single possession loss. Now can they put it together in crunch time? When you mentioned fatigue starts to set in.
So impressed with the way this team has just battled down the stretch. They've had response after response after response, and they won 2 quarters of this game. They won the first and the third, and then NC State won the second and the fourth. But it wasn't enough here. Again, perfect defense from James. There's nothing you can do besides keep your hands up. But Kara Dunn just had that little inch of daylight, and that's all she needed. And we have overtime.
5 minutes coming up here from Reynolds Coliseum. Will that be enough to decide the victor between these two teams? Because, man, they have been going back and forth, toe-to-toe throughout this ball game. And it's the Yellow Jackets that'll get the first possession in OT.
Overtime is critical. Every possession, every play, every cut, every screen, it counts.
There's a nice cut. Ball mishandled, but Laredo gets it up. Baldwin the board. This Georgia Tech team putting up 76 points in regulation against a North Carolina State defense holding teams to under 59 per game and 34.5% shooting. Rivers goes herself to the cup.
We talked all game about Isaiah James, but don't forget about Sanaya Rivers. Obviously gave NC State the lead, and then they're just getting to the basket in the steal. Those long arms, deceptive.
Nice pass, cashing in on the other end. NC State capitalizes in transition. Rivers, though, doing the work defensively and then making the right play, distributing that one to the weak side to James.
Go back to what I said towards the end of the fourth quarter, taking care of the basketball. You can't afford to turn it over at this point in the game. And Dunn, what she's so good at doing is drawing fouls.
Dunn getting in the lane, doing exactly that. James, by the way, gets the 30-piece in OT.
Beautiful take there by Rivers, uses the inside hand. And then here, she's so long. I mean, I think Augustinaitis thought it was open, and then she quickly closed the gap, and James runs the floor.
Here's Dunn at the free throw line, knocks down the first. Also keep an eye on the fouls as well. Dunn does have 4. So that could be a factor here in this overtime period. She's the only player in the game with 4 though. Hits the second free throw.
Think about defense right now for Georgia Tech. My mindset would be to protect the paint at all costs. If you allow them to get into the paint is where they cause havoc. They've only knocked down 3 threes. Contest a shot, but force them to shoot contested jump shots.
Baldwin gets it in. 4-point lead for NC State.
She's so good one-on-one. One-on-one in the post. She's got quick moves, strong moves, and she's long.
Dunn. Too strong from the elbow. O-board by the Yellow Jackets. Deflection. Morgan. Laredo rattles out. NC State all over the glass.
They can take their time now. Rivers says, yep, let's relax, take your time. Use the clock to your advantage.
4-point lead here for NC State. They are 1-0 this season in overtime. Georgia Tech has yet to play an OT game, so getting that experience for some of these young sophomores here. Baldwin finishes it off. She has 16, the last 2 for NC State. And she's fired up, rightfully so. Over Baldwin, the graduate student center with Andalusia, Alabama, transferred in from Florida State. 3 seasons there.
Again, so good one-on-one. Can go to her left, got the angle, and then on the other side, now she takes 2 dribbles and goes left again, scoring so great off of that right shoulder. And I love that Coach Moore decided to go to her, right? You go with what works. She's had great advantage inside. She's got great moves inside. And for Georgia Tech, you got to start to think about, do you want to double the post? I thought that in that last possession, Toni Morgan could have helped a little bit more to try and get the ball out of River Baldwin's hands. But if you leave her one-on-one in the post at 6'5", she is the biggest, strongest player on the court. She's got an advantage.
NC State shooting just 16% from beyond the arc as well in this game. You'd think they could afford to let someone sag off a little bit. River Baldwin, though, really starting to hit her stride. She dealt with a pretty serious ankle injury, according to Coach Moore. She missed a number of games in mid-January, starting to really hit her stride again after dealing with that injury that disrupted her rhythm. 14 points, 10 boards in 37 minutes against Notre Dame, her 4th double-double of the season. Had 15 points, 7 boards, 3 blocks against Pitt. So coming off of a couple of strong performances, really can see her confidence and composure down the stretch here.
You start thinking about overtime, and amongst all the things that have happened in the game, you just think about that maturity level, right? NC State, the older team, the more mature team, and so they've handled overtime a bit better. Georgia Tech here trying to calm themselves down, get back to what was working.
Yeah, to your point about the NC State experience, you look at their starters, all upperclassmen, 2 graduate students, a senior and 2 juniors. Certainly, they have the edge in experience compared to a young Georgia Tech team. And we'll look at their tournament profile in terms of how they stack up. If the NCAA tournament were to start now or the season were to end today, they've got a top 16 ranking, 10th in the net, 7-3 record against quad 1 teams, which is crucial. Now, can they close out a tough schedule here down the stretch? Because that's one thing about the ACC is that it's a gauntlet. Every single game, as they're seeing in this one, they face North Carolina, Duke, Syracuse. That's their next 3. Now, the good thing is they have Syracuse at home, and something that Coach Moore pointed out is that these are all games that are being played in this area. They're not long road trips. They're being played all in North Carolina.
Yeah, they said longest one is 30-minute drive to the next destination, but you mentioned that is a tough schedule, but they got to take care of business right now. I mean, 2.5 minutes left, and if what we've seen out of Georgia Tech today holds true, they will have a response.
See what they come up with here out of that timeout. Trailing by 6 here with 2.5 to go. Morgan. She can't miss.
You let her get to her pull-up. If you let her get to her pull-up, Kylan,
every time,
she is going to score the basketball. 23 now for Toni Morgan.
To go with the 11 assists and 6 boards, she's doing a little bit of everything. NC State still doesn't want to rush it here, up by 4 with 2 to go. Hayes gets inside through traffic. Oh, tough take.
Madison Hayes slicing through the lane. And at this point now, Yellow Jackets got to go a little bit. You got to get good shots, under rhythm, under control.
Morgan couldn't get it that time. Oh, board foul called as Blackshear tried to put it right back up.
Well, that's incredible rebound by Blackshear. That was over Baldwin and Collins on that side. She's able to pull it down. Now she's got to make free throws.
Baldwin called for her second. Critical free throws here for this Georgia Tech team, trailing by 6. I mentioned as well, Hayes, who got that last bucket, 15 points, 11 rebounds, so she's in double-double territory. That'll be her third on the season. Or that is her third on the season, rather. Blackshear hits the free throw.
We've seen a ton of great individual performances today. Kara Dunn is also on a 30-point watch. She's got 28.
1.5 to go. Rivers. James. Tough shot.
Very tough. Very tough. I thought they could have worked to get a little bit better of a look there.
Dunn. Blackshear able to get it under control. 8 to shoot. Dunn almost has it batted away. Throws it up and it goes in. What a heave. 45 to go. And somehow the bank is open.
Kara Dunn, I don't know what she ate today, but I need to know. She is on a different level today, folks. 31.
1-point ball game. 30 to go in overtime. Rivers finds Baldwin. Immediately tripled. 3-pointer from Collins, too strong. 12 to go. Big opportunity here for the Yellow Jackets. Morgan in traffic. Laredo passes it off. Morgan misses everything. There's the buzzer. NC State closes it out. A 1-point victory over Georgia Tech in overtime. The 6th-ranked North Carolina State Wolfpack able to hold off a very impressive Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets team in an impressive performance coming down to the final buzzer. You're shaking your head, Ice. What are you thinking at this moment?
There were opportunities there for Georgia Tech in that last possession, and I think we just happened to see a young team not necessarily ready for that moment. I thought Laredo had a wide open look from 3. But here, I mean, Kara Dunn did everything today for her team. The left-handed heave. The bank was open, and then NC State just weathered the storm. A huge dogfight they were in today. A ton of credit to the Yellow Jackets and how they performed on the road. This was a special, special game.
My goodness, NC State able to close this one out in overtime despite an incredible effort from Georgia Tech, including a 23-point performance from Tony Morgan and a 30-piece from Kara Dunn. Just outstanding. Thanks so much for watching ACC basketball in the CW. The final score from Raleigh, NC State takes down Georgia Tech by 1 in overtime. Don't miss next week's CW Women's Hoops season finale between Virginia and 18th-ranked Louisville. And Courtside Saturday is back this week with another exciting doubleheader. On behalf of our entire crew and my partner Isis Young, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.